Good morning, good morning, good morning. East Coasters, it's 10:45. And yesterday, it was a heavy day. It was a really heavy day. In fact, my husband and I are sharing a vehicle, and he picked me up last night from work, and he said, "How was your day? I usually hear from you." And I said, "It was tough. It was a heavy day." And then I walked into the house, and my youngest son, Colt, says, "Mom, you look like something's up. What's going on?" So it was just a heavy day, babe. So I want to say this. I love my work, but that doesn't mean that it's not heavy and it's not difficult. And yesterday was heavy because it was grief. It was every single session, tremendous grief that I am walking through with people that I've known for years. And because I've known them for years, I feel that grief with them. I care for them deeply. So yesterday was heavy. But here's the thing that happened midway through. As I'm sitting and I'm holding grief with these individuals, I'm helping them recognize that this is normal. There's nothing wrong with you. I know this is painful. And one client shares with me, "Well, the doctor gave me Klonopin. Do you think I should take it?" I have never felt so much rage. So it's like these conflicting emotions, right? I'm carrying grief with them, and then I have this intense rage. Grief is not a mental disorder. Grief is the cost of loving deeply. And so when we immediately medicate grief, especially with addictive substances like benzos, what happens is we risk suppressing the very process that somebody has to go through to integrate the loss. And I understand why she talked to me about it. And I said to her, "This hurts, but it's supposed to hurt." And I was just so angry. I'm trying to hold space and love for her through this grief. And I have this utter rage towards the doctor that was so irresponsible just to pile on a benzo. And knowing what benzos do to the brain. They're so addictive, and it changes the way the brain functions. And so medication should never be the first response to pain, emotional pain. It shouldn't be. It should be a last resort that's really carefully and sparingly used. Because what happens is that if somebody is truly overwhelmed beyond what can be found in support and therapy, truly. Now, I'm talking about people that are so dissociative that they can't get out of the house, or they're just not, aware of what's going on. I understand that there's a time and a place for benzos, and they can be very, very effective. But as somebody is going through the natural process of grief, it is terrible. I sit with people, and I'm telling you, I can sit through some of the most horrific trauma narratives that you can imagine. And I can hold space for that. I hold space for all of it. But I'm telling you, the grief ones, they get my heart every time. Because all of us can understand loss. We know what it feels. It is a common human experience all of us know. And it just made me so angry that this doctor wanted to take it away. The problem with us, or doctors, they go ahead and just prescribe these benzos like Klonopin, is that what we're teaching people is that their sorrow is sickness, when it's actually a sign of their humanity. Sometimes we all have to learn to suffer well. Sometimes it just looks like one foot in front of the other, allowing grief to move through us rather than silencing it. It infuriates me with the irresponsibility of handing out these pills as if it takes it away. And my client said, "Well, will it help?" And I said, "What do you want it to help? Will it numb you out?" Absolutely. Will the grief still be there? Yeah. It doesn't take the grief away. Grief is not sickness. Sorrow is not sickness. Grief and sorrow are a reflection of your humanity and the love. Even if you're in a dysfunctional family, we can see kids that come from these highly abusive homes and say their parent ODs. I've seen this before. And the child is in such depths of grief. There's this bond with those people in our life, even if they've been terrible to us. You cannot take that grief away. It is essential. It is essential to integrate loss into who we are. It is part of our humanity. If you want to take away all the feeling of grief, you take all away the feeling of love, of satisfaction, of joy. We have to learn to suffer well. And I know that sounds miserable. I know it does. And I have suffered, and I've been told you need to learn to suffer well. And I want to flip the bird and say, screw you. I don't want to suffer well. But I look back at it, and that encouragement, that someone walking with me and holding that grief with me and that sorrow with me, taught me strength, taught me resilience, taught me the tenacity that you must have to go through life. If they just had handed me a pill, I would not be the human being I am today. So I had to share that. We all carry grief in different ways. As I've been saying, it's Men's Mental Health Awareness Month and PTSD Awareness Month. And part of the process of looking at your trauma is grieving it. We don't put it away. We don't ignore it. We can't suffocate it and numb it with pills and drugs and alcohol and sex and whatever you're using. Because guess what? The second you sober up, the second you get off that warm body and find another one, that grief is just waiting for you. You have to integrate loss. You have to integrate that into who you are, as painful and as ugly as it may be. It is part of who you are. Please, if your doctor says, here, have a benzo, say no. Find a therapist, find a friend that is okay with sitting with your loss. Listen, a lot of people don't know how to sit with loss. It's a hard one to sit with because it makes us uncomfortable. We want to fix them. But if you can find someone, sit with the loss, integrate it into your life. Grief is not a mental health disorder. It should not be medicated. If you have high, depression scores, I get it. There's a time and a place. But this individual that told me this, I can't tell you the rage. It was such an odd feeling. It's like over here, I'm loving her and my heart's breaking for her and everything that she's facing. And then over here, I'm like screaming inside. What the hell is this doctor doing? This is so freaking irresponsible. What are you doing? Because it goes against the work that she's been working so hard on and confronting things, building a newer, healthier, adaptive, resilient self. And then this asshole, excuse my language, offers a benzo. Come on, people. Doctors, the human being is so much more resilient. Stop giving them pills right away. Listen, it's part of our problem with the medical system. You get 5 minutes and they just throw you a drug. Please hear me. You are taking away the brain's opportunity to not only integrate, but to grow. Let them get the help they need. Don't just pile pills on it. So get off my soapbox. Sorrow is not sickness. It is evidence of your humanity, and it is evidence of love. It is evidence even of something terrible that you are a part of. Grief is a normal feeling. We have to learn to suffer well rather than through silence. So that's my soapbox. Take it or leave it. Have a great day.